Cyril Ramaphosa announces new cabinet. John Steenhuisen is Minister of Agriculture. Fellow South Africans, just over a month ago, on the 29th of May, the people of South Africa voted in a watershed election. In casting their votes, the people made it clear that they expect political parties to work together to deliver on a mandate of transformation, growth, and renewal. To give effect to this mandate, it was agreed that a government of national unity, which brings together parties from across the political spectrum, should be formed. This government of national unity would be found by certain fundamental principles and would undertake a basic minimum program of priorities. Following discussions over the course of the last few weeks, a total of 11 parties have elected to work together in government and in parliament. These are the African National Congress, Democratic Alliance, Patriotic Alliance, Inkatha Freedom Party, GOOD Party, PAN Africanist Congress of Azania, Freedom Front Plus, United Democratic Movement, Al Jama'ah, Rise Mzansi, and the United Africans Transformation. The partnership between the GNU parties is guided by a statement of intent which outlines fundamental principles and minimum program of priorities. All the parties have made a commitment to respect the Constitution and to promote an accountable and transparent governance, evidence-based policy and decision-making, the professionalization of the public service, integrity, and good governance. The incoming government will prioritize a rapid, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth and the creation of a more just society by tackling poverty and inequality. The establishment of the government of national unity in its current form is unprecedented in the history of our democracy. We have to consider how to form a new government in a manner that advances the national interest, that gives due consideration to the outcome of the election, and that makes use of the respective capabilities within each of the parties. We have had to consider not only the immediate needs of the country. We have also had to consider the stability, effectiveness, and durability of the government we are establishing. It is true that some South Africans have expressed concern about the length of time it takes to form a government. As the discussions have unfolded, they have been worried about the effect of protracted process on confidence and stability. At the same time, many people have pointed to the experiences of other countries that have a far longer history of democracy, where the formation of multi-party government have sometimes taken several months. As a relatively young democracy, we should be proud that we have moved to establish a government comprised of 11 parties within such a short space of time. Through our discussions, we have been able to build consensus on the tasks of government. We have shown that there are no problems that are too difficult or too intractable that they cannot be solved through dialogue. This evening, I am pleased to announce the members of the National Executive who will bear collective responsibility to give effect to the will of the electorate. In forming the National Executive, we have to consider several factors and advance a number of key principles. We have had to ensure that the incoming government will be effective and that it will have people with experience, skill, and capability to deliver on its mandate. It is important that we deploy into positions of responsibility people who are committed, capable and hardworking, and who have integrity. We have had to ensure that all the parties are able to participate meaningfully in the national executive and that the diversity of the views of South Africans is properly reflected. We have sought to ensure that the national executive is representative of the people of South Africa, giving due consideration to gender, youth, demographics, and regional distribution. We want South Africans to see themselves reflected not only in the composition of government, but also in its policies and programs. Challenges that the country faces today, and considering the electoral mandate this government must implement, I have decided to make certain changes to the national government portfolios. In the course of the 6th Democratic Administration, we indicated our intentions to reduce the number of portfolios in the national executive. However, due to the need to ensure that the national executive is inclusive of all the parties to the government of national unity, this has not been possible. In some instances, we have considered it necessary to separate certain portfolios to ensure that there is sufficient focus on key issues. The ministries of electricity and energy will be merged. There will be a separate Ministry of Mineral and Petroleum Resources. The Ministry of Agriculture will be separated from the Ministry of Land Reform and Rural Development. The Ministry of Higher Education will be separated from the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. The Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Development will be separated from the Ministry of Correctional Services. There will no longer be a Ministry of Public Enterprises. The coordination of the relevant public enterprises will be located in the presidency during the process of implementing a new shareholder model. I have decided to make the following appointments to the National Executive. The new cabinet. The Deputy President is Paul Mashatile. The Minister of Agriculture is John Steenhuisen. The Deputy Minister of Agriculture is Rosemary Nokuzola Chapa. The Minister of Land Reform and Rural Development is Mzwanele Nyonto. The Deputy Minister of Land Reform and Rural Development is Tupu Stanley Matabata. The Minister of Basic Education is Siviwe Gwarube. The Deputy Minister of Basic Education is Regina Mhaule. The Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies is Soli Malatsi. The Deputy Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies is Motli Kunkubele. The Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs is Velinkosi Hlabisa. The Deputy Ministers of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs are Dixon Masemola and Zolile Burns Amashe. The Minister of Defense and Military Veterans is Angie Motsekha. The Deputy Minister of Defense and Military Veterans are Bantu Homolisa and Richard Kumgo. The Minister of Electricity and Energy is Cyril Ramaphosa. The Deputy Minister of Electricity and Energy is Samantha Graham. The Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation is Blade Mzimande. The Deputy Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation is Nomalungelo Jena. The Minister of Employment and Labor is Nomakosazana Meth. The Deputy Minister of Employment and Labor are Jomo Sibiya and Pumzile Mcina. The Minister of Finance is Eno Godogwana. The Deputy Minister of Finance are David Masonto and Esher Sarupen. The Minister of Forest, Fisheries and Environment is Dion George. The Deputy Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment are Narendra Sen and Bennett Swart. The Minister of Health is Aaron Motsoaledi. The Deputy Minister of Health is Joe Phahla. The Minister of Higher Education is Nobuhle Kabane. The Deputy Ministers of Higher Education are Buti Manamela and Mimi Gondwe. The Minister of Home Affairs is Leon Shireliba. The Deputy Minister of Home Affairs is Njabulo Nzuza. The Minister of Human Settlements is Mamoloko Kubai. The Deputy Minister of Human Settlements is Tandi Mahambelala. The Minister of International Relations and Cooperation is Ronald Lamola. The Deputy Ministers of International Relations and Cooperation are Alvin Botas and Tandi Moraka. The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Department is Tembi Kadimeng. The Deputy Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development is Andreas Snell. The Minister of Mineral and Petroleum Resources is Kwede Mantashe. The Deputy Minister of Mineral and Petroleum Resources is Judith Nematsinga Chabalala. The Minister of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation is Maropene Ramohopa. The Deputy Minister of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation is Seiso Mohai. The Minister of Police is Senzo Mchunu. The Deputy Minister of Police are Poli Mosielo and Kaisel Matale. The Minister in the Presidency is Kumbuzo Saveni. The Deputy Ministers in the Presidency are Nocheba Tlaluli and Kenneth Morolong. The Minister of Public Service and Administration is Msamo Butelezi. The Deputy Minister of Public Service and Administration is Pinky Kekana. The Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure is Dan McPherson. The Deputy Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure is Sihle Zikalala. The Minister of Small Business Development is Stella Ndabeni Abrahams. The Deputy Minister of Small Business Development is Jane Sitole. The Minister of Social Development is CCC Tolashe. The Deputy Minister of Social Development is Ganev Hendricks. The Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture is Gaten Mackenzie. The Deputy Minister of Sports, Art and Culture is P.S. Mabe. The Minister of Tourism is Patricia DeLille. The Deputy Minister of Tourism is Maggie Soju. The Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition is Parks Tao. The Deputy Ministers of Trade, Industry and Competition are Zuko Godlimpi and Andrew Whitfield. The Minister of Transport is Barbara Creasy. The Deputy Minister of Transport is Kuleko Mhlengwa. The Minister of Water and Sanitation is Pemi Majodina. The Deputy Ministers of Water and Sanitation are David Madlobo and Isaac Seitlolo. The Minister of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities is Sindiswe Tikunga. The Deputy Minister of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities is Mapaseka Steve Letike. The Minister of Correctional Service is Peter Greenwood. The Deputy Minister of Correctional Service is Lindiwe Sali. These men and women we have appointed to the executive are drawn from all corners of the country. They reflect the diversity of our nation. They have a responsibility to work together to serve the people as a whole. none of the members of the national executive have been appointed to serve the interest of a particular constituency, a particular party, or a particular section of society. Collectively and individually, they are responsible to the people of South Africa. In the spirit of partnership and collaboration, the incoming government will work together with other formations to convene a national dialogue. Through this national dialogue, all parties, civil society groups, labor, business and other stakeholders will be invited to work together to address the critical challenges facing the nation. We call on all South Africans to participate in the national dialogue and to give their support to this government of national unity as it begins its work. As the leaders of political parties, as ministers and deputy ministers, as public representatives, we understand and accept the responsibility that we bear. We have all been called upon to serve the people of this country, and we will do so to the utmost of our ability. And that's it from Injibs Network. Stay tuned to our celebrity and gossip news.